Welcome to Frances Reads Her Bible. My name is Frances Okiki, and today I'm moving on to Genesis chapter 45. Well, I read my Bible every day, but unfortunately, I would only be able to record the videos for this Frances Reads Her Bible, edit and put online now. Instead of 5 times a week I used to do before, it will have to be 3 times a week. I'm still trying to, you know, settle my schedule. Please bear with me. Who knows, when things ease up, it'll get better, I hope. So, Genesis 45, we're still on the story of Joseph. Joseph's brothers are in Egypt right now. And remember in the previous chapter, he cried. So, here, Joseph was no longer able to control his feelings in front of his servants. So, he ordered them all to leave the room. No one else was with him when Joseph told his brothers who he was. He cried with such loud. I can imagine. Oh, I can imagine the body shaking, heart track. The tears must have been the sobs must have been so loud that the Egyptians who were outside heard it. And then the news was taken to the king's palace. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph, is my father still alive? When his brothers heard this, they were so terrified they could not answer. And he told them, come closer, I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. Now do not be upset or blame yourselves because you sold me here. It was really God who sent me ahead of you to save people's lives. True. Because if all that hadn't happened, all those bad things hadn't happened to him, he wouldn't have been, second in command to the Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And his family members wouldn't have had food during this famine. So would the whole land of Egypt, they wouldn't have had food. And so many other countries that depended on Egypt this period. But then if I were Joseph's brothers and I found out he was alive, I'll be shocked. One, two, I'll be relieved. Like, oh my, and I'll be so happy, like he's alive. Imagine that thing of, carrying guilt and shame because you killed one of your brothers and voila, here he is. He's alive. He's alive, man. He's standing before you. I'll be so relieved. I'll praise God, that I didn't kill him. And everybody thought he was dead or worse. But here he is. He's the second in command to the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh. So Joseph said to them, this is only the second year of famine in the land. There will be 5 more years. Remember the dream, 7 years of plenty, 7 years of lack. So God sent me ahead of you to rescue you in this amazing way and to make sure that you and your descendants survive. So it was not really you who sent me here, but God. God used their hatred and whatever they felt towards him to propel him to the place of destiny. So he now tells them in 9, hurry back to my father, tell him this is what his son Joseph says, and all that. Come with you, your children, grandchildren, your sheep, goats, cattle. This was in 10. He wants them to come to Egypt, his father and everybody to come to Egypt. 11 says, if you're in Goshen, I can take care of you. There'll be still be 5 years of famine. And I don't want you, your family, and your livestock to starve. Well, this is a perfect. He will prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So, remember when he told his brothers he had a dream and they were going to bow before him? I can imagine right now, at this moment, knowing he's Joseph, that dream. Remember they said when they were going to kill him, let's kill him and see what will become of his dreams. This aha moment of we tried to kill his dreams and voila, here he is standing before us. Those dreams as in the dreams actualized despite the evil we did, and he's alive. He's living, he's among the living, and he's number two in Egypt. He's a powerful man. He's practically a king, a pharaoh, an emperor. and he's saving so many countries. So many people are bowing before him, not just us. So this I just taught me that no matter what you're going through, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can never really say 100% what God's plan is. When you're going through your wilderness period or season, and you think all hope is lost, have hope, faith, and trust in God that you come out victorious, that all things would work around for your good, no matter how bad the present situation is. So that's what happened to Joseph. I can just imagine. Wow. They tried to kill him, tried to destroy his dreams. And here he is, years later, living those same dreams they tried to snatch away from him. And also, he's also teaching me that, Francis, no matter what people do, no matter the plots or plans of the devil and the wicked people or envious people, whatever it is, God's will and purpose will always manifest in your life. No matter the years it takes, no matter the delay, no matter the turnaround, it will happen. It will happen. It will come to pass. So Joseph continued. Now all of you, and you too, Benjamin, can see that I am really Joseph. I'm sure he must have told them personal things that no one else could have known. And they'd be like, oh my God, it's really Joseph. Well, tell my father how powerful I am here in Egypt, and tell him about everything that you have seen. Then hurry and bring him here. He threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and began to cry. Benjamin also cried as he hugged him. Then, still weeping, he embraced each of his brothers and kissed them. After that, his brothers began to talk with him. As in, so much to talk about, so much to discuss. What happened after we sold you? Where did it take you to? What happened? How did you become the second most important man in all of Egypt after the king, the pharaoh, the emperor himself? And then gist from home. Oh, I married this person. I have 10 children now. I have 5 wives now. So many things to talk about. Catch up. So when the news reached the palace that Joseph's brothers had come, the king and his officials were pleased. You know, because in their mind, this guy is a loner. He was a slave servant, and now he's finally found his family. So yeah, they were happy for him. A guy who would save the whole of Egypt. Yeah, they liked him. So tell your brothers to load their animals and to return to the land of Canaan. Let them get their father and their families and come back here. I will give them the best land in Egypt. Tell them also to take wagons, as in basically you give them so many gifts. Go bring your people, come. Everything in this land belongs to you. Anything you want, anything you need. So Jacob's sons did as they were told in 21. Joseph gave them wagons as the king had ordered and food for their trip. He also gave each of them change of clothes, but he gave Benjamin 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. Come on, no surprise there. No surprise there. So he sent his father 10 donkeys loaded with the best Egyptian goods and 10 donkeys loaded with grain, bread, and other food for the trip from Canaan to Egypt. Then he sent his brothers off, and as they left, he said to them, don't quarrel on the way. That was very important because they'll start blaming themselves. It's your fault, this, that. So, yeah. So they left Egypt and went back home to their father, Jacob, in Canaan. Joseph is still alive, they told him. He's the ruler of all Egypt. Jacob was stunned and could not believe them. Yeah, I can imagine his shock. And I'm sure at that moment, Jacob remembered the dreams that Joseph had as a little boy. And he told him, and he told him, what do you mean? That's me, your father, me, your mother, and your brothers will bow down before you. But when they told him all that Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to take him to Egypt, he recovered from the shock. Like, it is true, that kind of thing. Like, wait, my son Joseph is still alive? He said, this is all I could ask for. I must go and see him before I die. Yeah, Jacob is really, really old at this time. Like, I'm so happy for Jacob, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Jacob. I'm happy for Benjamin. I'm happy for Joseph. And I'm happy for his brothers who sold him into Egypt. Now they see that whatever they intended for evil has made this guy move into his destiny, and also for them to get rid of the guilt they felt that their brother was dead. Now they know he's alive. He's healed, he's hearty, and all that. So I'm happy for the whole family in general. So sometimes it's just like some readers has taught me that all things work together for our good, even when we don't see it, even when it's so hard you can't even believe it. Joseph went from being loved by his father, having so much, to being sold by his own blood brothers, even though they were half brothers, being they tried to kill him, and he was seeing all that, and then they now sold him so that his dreams he will not succeed, and then he became a slave in in an unknown land. Even though God was with him all through, then his master's wife tried. He was comfortable even though he was a slave because his master trusted him and he was second to his master Potiphar. But then his master's wife tried to sleep with him, and then no one believed him, and then he was thrown into prison for years. And then all of a sudden, one night, he became one of the most important men in Egypt after the king, the pharaoh, the emperor. Just imagine, you know. So that wilderness, that's problem, whatever it is, God knows, He sees it, and everything will turn around for you good. Have faith. No, don't lose hope. Even though Joseph was struggling, he was a slave, he didn't steal. He could have slept with his master's wife to become, to gain money, and all that. Another thing this has taught me is that character is something that stays all through. Joseph's character didn't change from his teenage years to the man he became. You know, money goes and comes, but character stays. No matter what happens, a man's character, a woman's character will always stay, no matter what happens. And that's what happened with Joseph. He was a good lad, trustworthy, honest, dependable, hardworking. And it was the same, no matter the position as a slave, he was the same as a son, a teenager who loved God, who was honest, who was dependable, trustworthy by his father. And then even as a slave, and then to become the right hand man of Egypt, of the king of Pharaoh of Egypt. His character was the same all through. He loved God all through. And he loved his brothers from his teenage years, and that did not change. He still loved them. He didn't bear any bitterness, unforgiveness, any whatever towards them. So, wow, there's just a lot to unpack in this Joseph story. So, no matter what it is, know that God will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies, and that you turn out victorious in the end. As always, this is Francis Reads the Bible. Goodbye and God bless you.